Hello, welcome to the 17th day of July 2025. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation. This is something that I do each and every day at 5:30 a.m. It's an object effort at being very deliberate with my life. I use this time every day like an open journal to think about and recount interesting moments from the last 24 hours, interesting as they relate to my values. I discuss what those values are, and then I plan for the coming day. This is my effort. If I was like a free diver, diving below the sea with a snorkel full of air, this is my coming moment to come back to the surface, to pop my head above the water from the quest below, to breathe the open air, refresh the lungs, and to think about the last dive, which is exactly what I used to do. Years ago, when I lived in Santa Barbara, California, I was a free diver, and I would go out, take my fins and my mask and my snorkel, and go out to the beach there, the rocky coast fronting Santa Barbara, between Santa Barbara and Goleta, and I would swim alone out into the kelp bed, and I felt safe in the kelp, in the forest, and I would dive down, and once you got underneath it, the canopy would open, these big stalks of kelp, and swim through the kelp with a big forested mat above, exploring, and then come back to the surface and stay and linger on the surface for a minute or so, refreshing my lungs, recharging my blood with oxygen, getting out the CO2 that I'd accumulated during a dive of a minute or more. And I would think about the dive, what I'd just done, what I'd seen, and what my next plan was. And that's exactly what I'm doing now. Every day at 5:30 a.m., I pop to the surface, think about the last 24 hours, refresh my mind, and get ready for the next dive. But before I begin, excuse me for just a second. All right, before I begin, let me give my usual greetings to new subscribers. My standard disclaimer: this is a journal video. This is not a Japan video, although that's Japan happening behind me and all around. And also a note that as a journal video, I have latitude to discuss anything I want, to go into things as much detail as I want or not. I am pretty open about just about everything. I do talk about sensitive subjects like death, so be prepared for that if that makes you uncomfortable, or tune out if you like. Also, you're welcome to leave comments of any sort. I will read and respond to them when I'm done. And thanks for watching my videos. I appreciate it. And especially thank you to those who are members of my channel and supporters on Patreon. I really appreciate that. Okay, let's take a look at the notes from yesterday, and I will be periodically, most likely, referring to my book Going Alone, and principles and objectives within it. If I issue a hashtag before a word, like if I say hashtag temperance, hashtag reason, I'm referring to specific principles and objectives which are codified and described in the chapter titled The Good Life. So in the last 24 hours, there's only one note. That's typically the case. Well, first of all, before I look at that, I always like to, if I remember, to look at yesterday's note. What did I anticipate doing between yesterday at 5:30 a.m. and today? And for yesterday's notes, it said for the next 24 hours, which leads up to today, work on my eBay store. And that's exactly what I did. Yes, I fulfilled that. I spent the greater portion of the day here in my room working on my eBay store. I did a couple of interesting things. I figured out further how to set up the shipping preferences. I mean, the shipping disclaimer information and the shipping settings on my store so that I'm accurately representing how I ship things. Um, I did this by studying the, uh, the setup of other sellers from Japan to see how they had set up their things, and then modeling what I'm doing after those other successful sellers. I also did something really helpful. I narrowed down the shipping options. If you go into the Japan, first of all, if you're going to be a seller, if you're going to ship things from Japan overseas, you need to have a Japan Post account, and then you have to learn how to use it. And when you're shipping the items, there's a page and it has a whole like at least 9 different shipping options. So I had to do research to figure out which of those 9 are the best ones to use for my business model. I did just that. Then I built out a spreadsheet and I, using the actual interface, experimented with plugging in weights and destinations to see what the average shipping cost would be. I then plugged that into the spreadsheet for the 2 options that I chose. I could see each weight category and gradation, where they jump off, or where like it goes from a certain amount from 100 to 100 grams, and then another amount from 100 to 500 grams, and then another amount from 500 to 600, 700, 800, 100 gram intervals, and then the corresponding yen amount for each of those. And that took a little bit of time because I had to figure out each one. From there, I updated my pricing spreadsheet. I linked it all together, and I have a pricing spreadsheet where I can plug in all the variables for the items that I purchased for the store, plug the variables in, and come up with a retail price and shipping amount that takes into account things like the eBay final value fees, any promotional fees that I want to add, so that I can actually make sure that I'm actually making a profit, even if the profit is meager, off of every sale. And boy, I'm just having a thought right now. Oh my gosh. Let me just I might have to take an aside real quick to explore this thought. Let me do this. This is an interesting one. Hold on just a second. Wait, let's listen to the rain for a bit while I think about this, and then I'll talk about it. You know, doing this exercise is really fantastic because I set off to talk about things, but then I always find things that the very act of talking about these things out loud, even if to myself, really helps me to see things. Here it is. I just realized something. Okay, by virtue of what I've set up on the store now, I can merchandise any item that I want. Now, I don't put merchandise, by merchandise I mean inventory items. By inventory items I mean items that are not one of a kind. Items that I can go out into the community here in Japan, whether it be to a hardware store, a 100 yen store, Don Quixote, wherever, source items, put them into my store, my eBay store, not my YouTube store. The YouTube store will remain an antique boutique, just really, really special antique items there. The eBay store, however, will be a merchandise inventory engine. So I can literally be out doing anything, shopping for anything, and see anything that I like that I think, well, that might be interesting to foreigners. And I can buy 1 or 2 samples of that, take it home, and by virtue of all the research that I've done and the spreadsheets that I created, I can then plug in the information such as the item weight, decide, and I've already sized out boxes and envelopes that I can use to figure out the item's purchase price, including tax, the weight of the item, which box it would go in, and I know the corresponding cost of every box and its corresponding weight to add to the item weight. I know all the eBay final value fees. I know the promotional fees. I factor all that in. I then figure out a percentage retail markup. That then yields a price, the shipping, that I know what the shipping cost is, and that yields a retail price and a shipping cost. Now that retail price is front loaded with promotional costs. Now this is me probably telling you more than you need to know if you're going to be a potential customer of mine. But for example, on eBay, I can promote things, and it costs money to promote them. So, like merchants do, we have to pass those costs along, to a greater or lesser degree, to the buyer. So I've already factored that in. I know I know how much promotion I want to do for each item, and I factored that in as well. That yields to me a retail price. I can then compare that against what other sellers, if anyone's selling those items, and list the item. That's not the new thought. The new thought that I just had just now while I was sitting here talking to you was, let me see if I can figure out how to say this. Let me refill my cup just one more time. I think just one more second about how I'm going to say this. I'm going to go get some water from my water pot here. I really need to put something down here because in the rainy days, I drag my wet feet into the room and it leaves a trail of wet footprints across the floor. If I just put down a towel there by the entrance, that would solve the problem. Now I come back out and get my feet wet again. Okay, here we go. Let me explain. I have a problem. That's not a problem. It's a challenge. I learned something a lot. Back up a little further. For those of you who are new, I'm a 61-year-old American living here in Japan with my 61-year-old Japanese wife. We bought this. I came here 6 months ago. My wife came here a year ago, a little more than a year ago. I came here 6 months ago. We bought this house, and we're living here as a retired couple. Now, life is pretty simple and easy. It's actually quite pleasant. I mean, good gosh, I can't believe we landed in this circumstance in this stage of our life. I mean, given how many risks we took and how many mistakes we made, it's kind of amazing that it all worked out in the end. But it's all not easy, right? I mean, I'm finding 6 months into retirement that I don't do well with not working. That's the key. Okay, someone might throw out a comment and say, well, pick up a hobby. That's not going to do the job, Do some sort of charity work. That's not going to do the job. I want work. I like work. I hate work, but I like work. It's like cigarettes, maybe. Maybe I really think cigarettes might be the right thing, right? You know it's bad for you, but I'm hooked. I'm hooked on work. Now maybe I'll get over it. Maybe give me a couple of years, but I'm 6 months in of full time. I mean, this is like I've stopped smoking utterly. I stopped my job on December 12th. It was actually December 6th, 2024. That was my last day of work, and I haven't worked a day since. Well, I did that one day. I kind of helped out at my friend's English school. But that was neither here nor there. I've learned that I need work. I want to work. I can't go cold turkey, not yet at least. So I've started the process of looking for work. I started applying for jobs here in town, English teaching jobs of all things. Good gosh, I can't believe it. I'm applying for jobs as an English teacher. Oh, the job that I hate most of all. But still, it's work. I want to work. But I just realized something. Okay, this new eBay paradigm situation that I've set up for myself, whereby I've set up this spreadsheet and I have access to this vast merchandise realm here, plus I have all the free time in the world, and I don't need to make money, puts me in a situation where I can busy myself with work by virtue of this. I can, and in a way, I can be very competitive. Now, I don't want to be unfairly competitive, right? I mean, there's other people out there making a living doing this stuff. But I can look at what other sellers are doing and at least match what they're doing, right? This will keep me busy with the churn. Selling, searching, sourcing, buying, listing, order fulfillment, rinse and repeat. That looks like work, doesn't it? I just realized that. I may have found my answer. So yesterday, circling back to yesterday's note, the note said that I had what I wanted to do yesterday was to work on my eBay store. So let's get back to that. So after I'd set up the two spreadsheets, the one spreadsheet to detail the pricing breakdown for the various weight classes for the two types of shipping that I'm going to do. Of the 9 types that are available from Japan, I've selected 2 that I'm going to offer in my store. I created the spreadsheet to break down the shipping, and then I created a separate spreadsheet for pricing spreadsheet, which is a great spreadsheet. I'm so proud of that spreadsheet because I can now buy anything and plug it in and come up with a retail price and a shipping cost. Um, and I mean, that took a lot of work to figure that out. So that's all set. So I did that yesterday too. But wait, there's more. I also then went through all of the items in my eBay store, and there are 59 items listed now. And eBay allows you to add up to a 1-minute video clip with each item. And I added up to a 1-minute video clip of each item. I sat out here when the rain wasn't coming down, set up my platform here, and I made 1-minute non-talking video clips. These are just like 3-dimensional views of the item. And I uploaded each of those and added those to the listing. So every video, every item out there has that clip. So the next thing, so I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's not get ahead of myself. Well, maybe I need to get ahead of myself. Maybe I need to write down my note a little bit better, because I know now better what I want to do today. I want to figure out a way now that I've selected 2 shipping options that I'm going to offer my customers on eBay. Now I need to figure out how to offer both of those options so that the customer can select either one. So if they want the item in a hurry, they can select one option. If they're willing to wait and want to take take a break on the cost for shipping, then they can select that option. That's one of the things I'm going to work on today, but I'll get to that in just a moment. And I already feel it, man. I feel it. I woke up this morning feeling a little bit like, because I had such a great day yesterday, and I don't have an agenda for today. I didn't have one up until this point. I had such a great day yesterday. And furthermore, get this, I was exhausted yesterday. And at the end of the day, Yumiko and I went for our dog walk. Yoko couldn't join us. She was working late. And I was kind of dragging. And I wasn't in a bad mood or anything. I was just tired. And I finally realized, and I told Yumiko, you know what's going on? I'm tired like I used to be tired after a hard day at work. And I love it. I love that. And I'd missed that kind of fatigue where your brain is just squeezed all like a sponge, squeezed all out, and there's just nothing left. All you want to do now is get home, because we'd already had dinner. Get home, take a bath, and get to bed. And that's exactly what I did. I got home. I was in bed like by 8:30, and I slept the sleep of death. I woke up this morning feeling good, except I didn't feel good because I didn't have a full day ahead of me. It's a friggin' Thursday, and I don't have a full day. I didn't, but now I do, because I figured out what I'm going to do. I figured out a lot this morning. Really, it's worth actually making another note for myself. What is it exactly that I just figured out? Okay, figured out. Excuse me a little quiet while I write this out. 1. One is I figured out that eBay is work. I didn't see it that way. I was seeing eBay kind of as like this side hustle or this other activity, but it's work. It satisfies my want and need for work. The second thing I figured out, hold on, now I lost it. I didn't write it down fast enough. I think that's enough. eBay is work. In fact, I'm going to write that down. I should probably put it. You know what I should do? We almost bought it. Nico and I almost bought a cork board the other day, and we saw it at a thrift store. You know, of course, in Japan, everything is nice at a thrift store. I mean, it's like brand new. And she was going to buy it and use it in our downstairs to put up in the Genkan at the entranceway to put up. We get these little flyers. Hold on, I'll show you one. I thought I had it. It was interesting to see. Did I not keep it? You know, that's always the case. Just when you throw something out is when you have a need for it. Anyway, it's a flyer for I threw it out. A flyer for an antique fair. We go to these antique festivals and stuff like that, and then have like flyers out that say, you know, there's another one happening in Fuji City, or, you know, Fujinomida or something, Fujieda or something like that. And we're like, we can't keep track of all this stuff. So that we put up a bulletin board by the Genkan and then pin those things up, and then we can know where to go. I really should get that kind of thing and pin it up, and almost maybe like a little whiteboard or something like that to pin up the ideas which are foremost and paramount in my mind at the moment. And I can barely boil this down to a little mantra that I can repeat to myself. eBay is work. I can do eBay and satisfy my need for work until I can wean myself away from that need. Maybe I won't ever do that. Okay. So that was that for the last 24 hours. There is a note here. That wasn't anything on this. Actually, that wasn't even the note on the thing. I was just talking about how the thing went. There is a note here, lost and confused, and then in parentheses it says peace. So yesterday, after lunch, Yumiko said, would you like to join me to go to the fruit stand? And I said, well, that sounds interesting. Let's go to the fruit stand. I don't know why we're going to the fruit stand, ostensibly to buy fruit. I guess because we like to have fruit. Now, Yumiko couched, and I always drive. That's how we are, you know. Even if I don't know where I'm going, even if I'm a poor driver, I still drive. It's not just that. Yumiko prefers that as well. Now, here's where the lost and confused part. If you follow these videos, you know that since coming to Japan, I've become a very bad driver. I've also become confused and addled, I think is a proper word. My intellect, if I can use that term, still seems to be sharp and keen with my reading, my ability to speak, my ability to think still seems sharp. My vision is going bad as my eyes go bad. I'm getting surgery in September to get my eyes fixed, my one eye fixed. It's still not bad enough that I can't drive, but it's hard to read. It's hard to perceive things sometimes. But mostly it's a bit of a cognitive decline. So here we go. The time came for us to go to the fruit stand. Yumiko couched it in language as if the fruit stand that we both know about, and I didn't know what she was talking about. So I said, so here we go. What I'm doing when I'm talking about these things is I'm trying to see what happened, what challenge was I presented with, and how did I respond, and did I use the principles in my book, in my creed, to help me out. As we got into the car, and as we were getting ready to go into the car, I was putting on my shoes to go outside. I thought, well, Kurt, I don't know where we're going. I don't know why we're going in this place. I'm confused. So I said, what am I going to do? So I used, of course, as always, temperance to control the emotions, right? Because you get a little bit of frustration, confused, etc. And temperance right away, bang. I'm very well practiced at that. It's really hard for emotions to ambush me anymore if I see them coming with even just 5 seconds warning. So immediately I put that down. It doesn't mean I didn't feel that way. It didn't mean I didn't feel anxious. I did, but I just pushed it down. Then as I walked around to the car, I said, well, Kurt, let's figure this out. Let's be upfront with Yumiko. You don't know where you're going, and ask her help. Ask for clarification. Maybe she can help remind me where we're going. And if she can't, then ask for her help. So I got in the car, I buckled up, the car was warm enough. I said, listen, Yumiko, I don't remember where we're going. I know we're going to a fruit stand somewhere. Can you help me to remember? She explained to me the place, and it didn't help. I didn't know where it was. I had no idea. It was like she could have been talking about someplace that she visited with her sister, and I had never been. I had no idea. And I trust that my wife was right, that I had been there, that I knew the place. I just didn't remember. It's like, because my brain don't work so well anymore. I said, so I was honest. I said, hashtag reason. I said, hashtag, feels like there's another principle at work here. Oh, limits, hashtag limits, right? Recognizing my true limits. However much I might want to remember where this fruit stand is or what it is, I can't. It's not there. So I said, well, thanks for explaining it to me. I still don't know where it is. Can you guide me, please? And so instead of, giving me the guidance, she said, well, it's on Route 1. She said, probably what you'd need to do is to go to Marquez, which is a shopping center, since it's on the left side of the street, swing around onto Route 1, and then come down and you'll find it from there. I said, I think I know what you mean. So if I go, I said, how about this? How about I go along Minami Kansen all the way to Tenjinya, make a right turn at Tenjinya, go over the bullet train tracks, and then make a right at Route 1. Would that put me on the right track? She said, I think so. She said, and she wasn't so sure because she was like, I think it's after that. She was couching her. She wasn't so sure. It could have been before that. So it was a gamble we both took that if I didn't go far enough, I'm going to miss it altogether. But then we were both in that boat, right? So I then set off and did it. And then all along the way, I realized, you know what? There's actually a shortcut. And instead of just initiating the shortcut, hashtag reason, hashtag limits, I said, you know what? I think if I make a right turn up here at the post office, I can go in that special secret route over the tracks that will take us right to Marquez and swing around. And she said, yeah, I think you're right, Kurt. So I did. Executed the shortcut. So again, this is me taking in the midst of, and if it sounds like I'm being self-congratulatory, I'm talking too much about myself, remember, this is my journal. So this is what I do. This is exactly what I want to do. I want to find where I did well and where I did poorly. And I did really good working with my wife in the face of my shortcoming, my poor memory, my inability to know where I am. And all the while we're driving, because remember, I'm a terrible driver now. I had the radio on very low volume in Japanese. I never play my own music on the car, ever, ever, ever. I had it in Japanese, because if I'm playing my own music, I kind of go into my own world. And I kind of, if I play like my own, and also I want Japanese on to help the listening. But if I play if I have my own music, it distracts me. It makes me too. If Japanese is coming through on the air, it reminds me that I'm in Japan and I need to be extra cautious, right? Driving. It works. So we got all the way there, made the right turn, and now we're going down Route 1, where she assured me that it was going to be over on the right somewhere, on the left side of the left somewhere. I didn't know where it was. I had no idea where we're going. I had no idea what we're looking at. I don't remember there being a fruit stand along that route at all. Sure enough, and she was getting closer, and Yumiko's kind of, well, she's not so sure. It's up here. And then finally she sees the sign, and it's a white sign with green letters on it. And it snaps. I remember the place. Yeah. In fact, I remember we drove past it last week, and we talked about it. I knew what the place was. So we swung in, went to the fruit stand, did our business there, etc., etc. So why am I saying all of this? Well, because this is an example of a very positive example of me encountering a hashtag limit, using hashtag temperance to control my emotions, and hashtag reason to come up with a plan for clear communication and to navigate to the fruit stand with my wife. Good job, if I do say so myself, and I just did. So that was good. So that's why it says, the note is lost and confused, but peace in parentheses. Because at no point during any of this experience did I feel anxious or unduly anxious or at ill ease, because I had it under control. I was being very stoic in my approach. Good job, Kurt. I'll give myself 5 stars on that one. Okay, now let's do the creed. My creed, which I call the good life, codified in my book Going Alone in the chapter called Good Life, identifies 8 objectives. These are the 8 objectives that I'm striving to achieve in the course of my life, which if I can do that, then I would consider my life well lived. my time well spent. And these 8 objectives are, hold on, let me move this. These 8 objectives are, first and foremost, and these are listed in order of importance, and they're carefully laid out in a particular order because they build one on another in a way. That's also true of the principles. It's really coming down. Number 1, to be always ready to die. To have my affairs in order, my relationships in good shape, and my life's work, if not complete, at least in not a messy state. So I have to ask myself, is that the case? I do this every day, and it's for a long time that's been the case. It wasn't always the case. As recently as a year ago, I was busily working on tying up loose ends of affairs, relationships, and life's work. But pretty much they're all done now, which is I guess not to be too much of a surprise at my age. I've had 60 years to get here. The second element is to make sure my relationships are sound. This is the second part of being ready to die. That I don't have anyone that I have sour words with that I need to address. The third element is that I have my life's work complete. And it is. My life's work consisting of, number 1, remember if you see there's a principle in here called purpose. And in purpose, I lay out, and I just talked about the purpose I think a couple of days ago. I laid out a couple of sub-purpose, if that's the plural of purpose. One was, first and foremost, was biology. The purpose of biology is the mandate that life seems to give us to reproduce, to make more of ourselves, to get a copy of our genes into the next generation, to raise that person to a viable adulthood so that it can send them off into the world and we can go ahead and die and get out of the way and our genes carry on into the next generation. That's the number 1 purpose in my life, was to be a good father and husband in support of that. I view my relationship with my wife, and my wife sees it the same way, as a vehicle for the purpose of being good parents. So as a result of doing that, as a result of the fact that we share a lot of our values, and we basically matured into adulthood together after almost 40 years, we have a good marriage. But that's the marriage itself. We were never the kind of couple that would take time off from. In fact, we never, not once in all of our years of parenting, did we ever use a babysitter. Because going out together was not the point. The point was being parents together. And that meant being home with our kid. I'm not judging anybody. It just lays, it puts into focus the perspective of how we viewed how Yumiko and I view our life purpose, which is to be parents. So that's the number 1 thing. My life's purpose is to be a parent, to raise my daughter successfully. My second purpose was to codify, to tell my story, the story that I compiled as a result of my life. And it's all done. It's in the book. Not a single word needs to change. So, and my relationships are good. You know, even my mom it's as good as it's going to be. # limits, # reason. So yeah, I'm ready to die. Don't want to die yet, but I'm ready. Number 2, second objective is to make good and effective use of time. That's why I wake up in the morning and I fuss a little bit in the morning. I'm like, what the hell am I going to do today to make today a good day? What is this? There's a new little button that just popped up. Hold on just a second. I gotta explore what this is. Oh wow, there's a list of you. Interesting. New fan. I've never seen this on the live. It's a list over here that says top people. And, I guess the top viewers, and then a list of the people that show up regularly. I guess the algorithm is keeping track of those of you who come here regularly, and it's created a little list on the side of who you are. It's all the familiar names. I'd never seen that before. This must be a new feature. How cool. All right, and I won't begin listing names but I see everybody that's a regular. Okay, so I'm ready to die then. So the number 2 is to make good and effective use of time. Number 3 is to develop, sorry Rudy, develop and maintain good and sound life principles. Uh, Good and sound life principles means that I have a good code of living, right? A creed, so to speak. A lot of time, I mean, for decades, I lived my life rudderless. You know, a lot of people will onboard a creed by virtue of, joining a religion, for example, or, having a tradition. The Japanese, for example, their creed is indoctrinated into the fact of being Japanese. My wife has said it several times. Yumiko says, my religion is being Japanese. Japan does that. For those of us that are like me, who don't have a religion or have given up religion, we're left on our own to kind of figure it out for ourselves. I don't have the benefit of being raised in the Japanese culture either, which provides a lot of answers. So I had to figure it out for myself. So I that's the third objective, develop and maintain good and sound life principles. The ones that I've developed are in here. Number 4 is to cultivate good emotional reactions so that I become someone who responds well to the difficult moments. Like yesterday, getting into the car, realizing I didn't know where the hell I was going or why we were even going. I didn't even know why. Yet I responded well by enlisting the capabilities of my mind and my values and my practiced creed. 5 is to perform good actions relative to my creed. 6 is to recognize my true limits and true opportunities. I've talked about that already this morning. 7 is to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully. And number 8 is to maintain my balance in both body and mind, which is becoming increasingly easy now that I'm retired, because I don't really, and this is a double-edged sword. Being retired, I don't have to put myself into situations that are difficult unless I want to. I mean, sure, things happen sometimes that kind of take me by surprise, but they're more mundane and everyday, right? It's not like before, when I was a project manager and the project sponsor would come to me and say, hey, we've just got a new elected official, and that elected official doesn't want to do this project the way we've agreed to do it, the way we've spent the last year and a half scoping it out and budgeting it and getting stakeholder agreement on. They would rather it be done a different way. Can you adjust it, Kurt? That's the kind of stuff that I no longer have to deal with, thankfully. But you never know. I mean, instead of that, it might be a doctor who might call me and say, Kurt, the end is near. It's going to be bad. It's going to be painful. That's a possibility too. I think I covered them all, didn't I? I said balance too. Yeah, I did. Okay, so now let's move on to today. What's happening today? Well, a couple of things. I've actually, in a rare case, I've got 2 notes here. Although I can't read it. What did I write here? One is that I'm going to do my product listing, and that's not just the antique item listing, but the product listing. Assuming I can get a break in the clouds and the rain. The second one here is shipping options. That's the second one, to try to figure out how to apply to give my eBay customers 2 options for shipping, expedited shipping, which would be more costly, and slower shipping, C-mail basically, which takes like a month or 2. If they're not in a hurry, they can save a lot of money. So I'm going to try to I know how to do it. I've got the options figured out. I just have to figure out how to enable it and then go through all 59 current listings and lay them in. There is something else that's happening that's not showing up anywhere on my notes today that's been on my mind. It's happening today. So one of our neighbors has invited Yumiko and I over for coffee this afternoon, but this just isn't any neighbor. This is an interesting neighbor. They're just right over there. When we lived here before, and I went back to America first, that was when Emily was in junior high school, the end of junior high school. And she had gone to elementary school here, but we had sent her to a private kindergarten, and then a public elementary school, which is just on top of that hill there. And then when all the children in this community, also most of them went there as well. Then when she finished elementary school, we sent her to a very nice private middle school in downtown Shizuoka. She would take the train every day. In her last year, well, no, in her last year of junior high school here, one of the boys that she had been from first grade to sixth grade at the elementary school here asked Emily out on a date. I was gone. I was back in America then. His name is Yuki-kun. And it was Emily's first date. And they got together. Apparently it was very cute. I wasn't here. I was living in America then. And they went and saw a movie together downtown. Now, Yuki's family lives just right over here. They have a beautiful little house. Their parents are retired, like us. The dad is interesting. He's kind of like me, kind of having a hard time giving up work altogether. So he's found himself an interesting job. He works weekends doing something interesting, kind of to fill the time, but his weekdays are free. They invited us over for coffee. Now, they speak English really well, which is a blessing and a curse, because it's a blessing because it makes things easy for me, but it's a curse because it doesn't help me to press the envelope, you know what I mean? And it always puts me, I always feel awkward sometimes when I'm in a situation amongst all Japanese people, when the English is the minority language, but to facilitate communication, people have to speak English. I mean, I can get by on Japanese. It's just, and I can hold my own. It's just that it's pulling teeth when I'm around, right? I mean, when everyone else in the room speaks English at a higher level than my Japanese, it's easier for everybody if we all speak English. So it's not like I'm forcing anybody to speak English, and it's not like I don't speak Japanese well enough to keep up or go along. I can, it's just clumsy and awkward. So I always feel uncomfortable in that situation. So there's that. But it's not a big deal anymore. It used to be a bigger deal. It's not a big deal. It's not such a big deal anymore. Anyway, they invited us over. It's kind of interesting because who knows if life had gone differently. I mean, there's a non-zero percentage possibility that they could have wound up being our in-laws, right? Wouldn't that have been interesting? Their son, interestingly, is graduated from university and living up in the same area where Yumiko lives, where Emily lives now. So the world is a complex and interesting place. So we're doing that this afternoon. I'll confess I'm a little bit nervous about it. And it turns out that that's why we were going to get the fruit stand, to get fruit to bring us a gift. Nice fruit, right? Nice quality stuff. So, and that's Yumiko, looking after the best interest of such things. All right, I think I made it through everything I wanted to say. Let's read comments. Hi, Michael. Hi, Heather. You like the eBay store? Thank you, Heather. I'm glad you like it. I'm having so much fun curating it. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to become a little different because I'm going to start using it for merchandise. So the YouTube store will continue to be just antiques, but the eBay store, it's going to be all kinds of stuff soon. Evelyn, hi Evelyn. Often I like the idea of working, but don't enjoy the actual task while doing it. I'm exactly the same. I'm sure that if I get one of these jobs teaching English, I'm going to actually hate the moments that I'm teaching English, but be very glad that I have the chance to do that. I'm exactly the same. More and more as we have these discussions every day, I'm realizing that so many of us here are of such a like mind. Tim says, good morning. Hi Tim, good morning. I think I mentioned, or good evening for you. I think I mentioned, by the way, Tim, it's 24 degrees and off the scale, above 90% humidity. How about you? How is it in England? Tim says, I think I mentioned before, maybe yesterday, now is the time to strike out while the work at Ethos is still there. Yes, I totally agree. I believe that's a perishable thing, isn't it? And it's kind of, that's interesting, Tim, that you mentioned that. I'm really glad that you reminded me of that, because that's something that I don't know that could easily get back, right? It's like losing your muscle tone after a certain age. Like I'm 60 now. I mean, I work out every day. I lift weights. I do all kinds of stuff, but I can already feel it. My muscle tone, it's not coming back, right? It's only so much. the work ethos seems to be the same thing at this age, right? Or maybe at any age. Heather says, I love getting the Amaoya Hime Maru crackers. Oh, let me write that down. Let's see if I can, you're giving me a product. I'd never heard of that. Ama Noya. So Ama, I guess, is sweet. Noya Hime Maru, the princess circle. Hime Maru. Thank you for letting me know. I'll look those up. Amanoya Himemaru. I write it down so I can actually read it. Crackers. I'm looking for product ideas. The rice crackers you sent me, Kurt, were way too addictive. I know. Yeah, aren't those? Are you talking about, Tim? Are you talking about the ones in the little plastic rectangle square that are they're like little like shaped like kind of a red color, shaped like little crescents with peanuts in it? Is that the one you're talking about? Those are called kake no tani. They're my wife's favorite, and they're the only thing I have them in the store now. They're the only rice crackers I have in the store right now. They are my favorite. Miko's too. They're Miko's favorite. She got me hooked on them. Heather says, I know, right? And my family love the green tea too. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. I need to get more green tea. I don't know if Gerald is there, but Jerry bought some more tea last night, and I think I have to go to the tea factory to pick it up this afternoon to get Jerry's order out. One more thing to do today. And the thing is that this is great. I'm glad that that happened because the tea factory, so far I only have, this is me, time out from Good Life Meditation to product talk. The only thing I have right now are the green tea bags. So I want to begin adding loose green tea, but I haven't got it in there because to do loose green tea, you need all the paraphernalia, right? You need the teapot, the strainer, etc. And I didn't think people would be interested in buying that because they'd get the bag of tea and then now what, right? Feels like I need to kind of then add to the store other stuff. But then I thought, people can figure that out, right? I can simply add the tea. People are smart. I worry that someone's going to buy the tea and they're going to, now what, right? They'll get it, right? If they've got the tea bags, it's easy. So if I go today to the tea factory, I'm going to try to get a bag of tea and I'll try to expand to add more types of tea too. And I'm glad that your family loves the tea as well. And by the way, for everybody that has tried the tea, the stuff in the tea bag, I mean, it's really good. But if you like your tea stronger, like I do, the loose tea, I think is better for that because you can you can adjust the quantity and the water, and you can get a more punchy dose. That's how I like my tea. Ray, hi Ray. Do you know the concept Ikigai? Yeah. If not, I bet you would enjoy it. I am aware of Ikigai, and it definitely is an interesting concept. It's funny, I tend to be a guy that thinks things through. Ikigai just kind of sits there on the periphery, and I think it's because I'm too simple, right? I just want to work, and like, yeah. And maybe this is me just, walking around a topic that probably deserves a lot of thought because I get at least once a month someone sends me an email or leaves a comment asking, pointing me in the direction of Ikigai. Ray says, it's been difficult for me to try and follow, but can see it leading to a good life. Tim says, work doesn't necessarily mean the 9-to-5 grind with a boss breathing down your neck. I think the more fulfilling, satisfying type of work is where you're 100% in control. Hashtag CEK guy, right? Yeah. Ray says, agreed, Tim, but some people need that added structure. That's me. Yeah, that's me. I need that added structure. Hey, there's Jerry. Hello, Kurt, my friend. Received the tea order with crackers and vintage face towels. You're the first person to get that. The crackers were good. I actually took the towel and used it as a decorative horizontal curtain top on my bay window. Let me show you guys what he's talking about. Just a second. I've got him inside. I was at the antique fair, and I found and I bought these. I'll show you as soon as I can get them out of this thing. And I'm really glad to hear you're the first person to get it, Jerry. I was at the antique place, and I bought a whole bunch of these. These are antique. Well, I guess you can call them antique. If the definition of an antique is 40 years old, I'm sure that these are at least 40 years old. Let's take a look. We'll open one up. Actually, I've got one hanging up somewhere. I won't open it up. I've got one hanging up. It's right. Where is it? What did I do with it? Oh, it's right in there. Anyway, let me grab it. Just a second. Because I'm using it. I was using it in the garden for myself. Ah, here it is. So, Japanese workmen and women would often use these towels. These are these like this, for various things. You see how they have the nice pattern on it right there? You can put it across your head. As a head towel if you're, you're working at the ramen shop, right? Or something like that. Or they'll put it around their neck like this, they're working in the field. That's how I use it when I'm out. This is how I use this one. When I'm out gardening, I put this around my neck to absorb sweat and to keep the mosquitoes off my neck. All kinds of ways you could do this. Anyway, I was at the antique festival. It was like I found a vendor that had a box of these old towels. Now you're wondering, well, why are they all bundled up like this? And they look like gift wrap. Some vendors in the past, this is why I say they're antique, this is probably from the mid-Showa period, I'd say give these, look at the paper. The paper's all kind of, brown. I'd say these are probably 40, 50 years old, or maybe as old as me. Vendors would give away these towels to their customers, right? You'd come in, maybe like a rice dealer, right? You'd buy a big bag of rice, and you get your bag of rice, and they say, hi, for you, and they give you this. Now the person that bought the rice is probably a farming family, so they'd go home and they'd take this off and put this around their head and go out, and then they got free advertisement for the rice company, because right, it's this, because sometimes it has information on there, sometimes it's just decorative. And I got all these. So I decided that for the orders that I'm getting from people that I can fit one in, and where the weight works, I'm throwing one of these in as well so people can get it. So you're the very first person to get one, Ray, because your order came just after I bought these. So anyone else that buys will be getting more, and I think I can get more of these. I know how to get more. So that's just an added little gift. I may also try to send them to my the patrons. I want to start doing stuff for my supporters on Patreon. Like I'm going to come up with, that was another thing I'm going to work on, is a product discount code to give to my supporters on Patreon, so that they can come and buy things from the store at a standing discount. Anyway, I'm glad that you got it. I want to read what you did with it. Received the OT order with the crackers. The crackers were good. I'm glad you liked it. It's the same ones, I think. No, actually, I sent you different ones, Ray. I sent you a whole package, I think, didn't I, of slightly different crackers, because you had already tried the kake no tane. And actually, that package I sent to you, I was planning to list that. And your order came and I said, well, I'll just send this to Jerry. And I'll go get more and try this. I'm glad. So you tried it out. You said you like it, so it supports my idea of listing those. I actually took the towel and used it as a decorative horizontal curtain top on my bay window. Perfect use. In Japan, they call it the Norden curtain across the top. Hey, what if I added Norden to the store? People might like that. Tim says, agree, Ray. I think I've been lucky in that respect in my working life, but unfortunately came crashing down with my last boss that finished me off at 58. I didn't feel compelled to carry on working. Tim, I know you told me the story before, but I just cannot believe how similar our stories are. I think I was 58 as well when the boss that finished my career, entered my life. And it wasn't my boss, it was my boss's boss. And for the record, my boss also was looking for the exit door when that person came on the scene. And then you and I both retired at about the same age. I know you're a couple years older than me. The similarity, and we're both, our stories are so similar, Tim. Let's not get lost today. Hashtag, let's not get lost today. Okay. I'll definitely try not to get lost. Music will let you zone out. That's true. And I do. One thing I do enjoy. I have the music here. And one thing I'm really glad is that there's no neighbors. They're all gone during the day, and there's nothing but bamboo forest and a field back here. I can have the music. I'm very sensitive. I don't want my neighbors to even hear the music, but I can have it just loud enough that I can enjoy it and doesn't disturb anybody. Tim says, the strangest thing I find sometimes is driving somewhere and getting lost, but I get that deja vu feeling I have been there before. Ooh. Kenroll. Hey, Kenroll. First time I've seen your name. Welcome. Oh, my, I've been discovered. You certainly have. Tim says, that sounds so much like my old boss. Epitome of a micromanager. Always wanted to change everything. You did, Tim. Ooh. And you know what? My boss wanted to change things for all the wrong reasons. The boss before that, in that person's position, would fight against, they would protect my projects against the political climate, the winds of politics, right? They would say no, they would say, because my projects were multi-year, big projects, involving big budgets and hundreds of people and departments and dozens of departments sometimes. And to make changes to a project like that is very significant and not very good stewardship of the taxpayers' money. So my boss's boss, the person that was before, would always protect the project against because politics change. My projects would go for multiple years. New people would get elected into office and then want to have a new agenda, right? They would protect us. This new person wouldn't do that. Their mission was to please whoever had the reign of power, or however the winds of fancy change. It drove me nuts, right? It wasn't the right thing to do. Glad I got out of there. Coffee with the grandma neighbor. Oh, the one down the street here. I hear what you're saying. Yeah, there's an idea. That that is an idea. I talk to her every day. It's 17, so comparisons, Tim says it's 17 degrees and 75% humidity. Quite pleasant this evening. That does sound nice. It's 17 would be right in the green zone for temperature, and 75% humidity would be a little bit out of the, according to my measure, it would be a little bit out of the green zone for humidity, but not bad at all. That sounds really great. Not quite heaven, but almost. And the reason I'm saying that is I'm defining heaven now as this green zone, because I realized that whoever's created this device realized that that's the perfect temperature and humidity. So I call that heaven. Yes, they're the ones. Really tasty. We'll have to order some more. Okay, I'll try to get those in the store. Those are good. Heather says, one of the best ones, Tim. No, that's Tim. You're Tim. You're talking about the kake no tane with they're addictive. Huh? It's like you're reaching down. You open that little bag, and then you're reaching down to get the last little bit. It's that good. Kake no tane. I don't have any left. I ate all my stuff. Actually, I gave them to Yumiko. She's been working hard this week on Emily's room. Emily's coming tomorrow, actually, to spend the weekend, and she wanted a snack, and she called from downstairs. She says, "Papa, do you have any kake no tane?" So I broke open my last bag. There were 4 bags in there. Threw 2 down the stairwell to her, and she caught, and then I kept 2 for myself, and we ate our own stash. One of my family friends loves coming to my house, Heather says, to nab the green tea bags, and loves the fact that it comes from the source and nothing is added. Wow, that's really, really neat. You know what, dang it, did I not keep I think I have some video, Heather. Well, like last 2 months ago, I was there, and the owner of the tea factory, which I think I mentioned to you, has been in operation since like the last part of the 19th century. She grabbed me and walked me through the tea factory to show me some of the operation. And I took some video of it, but I think I forgot to upload it. And you're right, it comes straight from the tea grown in this area, right to their factory. They make it right there, and then she packages it. It's all, you're exactly right. That's so cool. A neighbor comes by to get the tea bags. Okay, you guys are motivating me to get more tea listed of various sorts. Tim says, I'm actually on the lookout here to get the Japanese teapot, etc. So I get the loose tea. Oh, okay, that's good to know. It's interesting. You can find a lot of good. There's a lot of authentic teapots out there. My favorite type of the tetsubin, the iron teapots. Maybe I'll try to add those. You know, if you look on eBay or something like that, I'm sure you can find lots of good ones, Tim. I've been hesitant to add stuff like that to the store because of the size and the weight and the extra ship. It's costly for people to pay the shipping for heavy ceramics and especially heavy cast iron. But tetsu means iron and bin means like ware. Tetsu bin are the cast iron teapots. Those are Yumiko's favorite. We don't have any in the house yet because they're a bit expensive. But if you can find the tetsu bin style, you can't miss them. They're these beautiful cast iron with they have little dimples around the edge. Oh, they're just beautiful. Heather says, I got the Daruma too. I'm still deciding where to put it. I told my husband the background of the factory and now the parking lot. Now, you want to see, Heather, you want to see my Daruma, how I'm using them? Because I kept 2 from that factory and I put them above my clock here, which needs to be wound. I've got the 2 of them looking down in their bags. There's a story about those Daruma, which Heather's referring to, how these items are gone. I won't bore everybody with a whole long story, but you'll never see these Daruma. I've only got like a handful of them left. I'm keeping those 2 for myself. Only got a handful, and Heather's got 1 of them, and then that's it. They're gone, and because the people in the factory that used to make those, the family, they're all dead, and their factory is now a parking lot. Yeah, I should go by and make a video of the parking lot. It breaks my heart every time I drive past it. Evelyn says, very thoughtful gesture with the decorative towels. Thank you. And I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna try to. I'm coming up. I'm trying to think of a campaign, something to do for my Patreon supporters to send, especially now that I have the shipping scheme figured out, that I can send my Patreon supporters, at least if not monthly, at least quarterly, something like gift from Japan, like these items. I think that would be nice to do. So those who are supporters on Patreon, I'm gonna try to start doing that. Not try. I'm gonna do it. I think these towels would be good. I'd love to see some Nornan in the store. Oh, great to know, Heather. Thank you. Whiskey. Hey, Whiskey. Hello, mate. It's been a while. It has been a while. I haven't seen your name for a while. Heather says, 86 degrees and hot here in Sacramento. Ah, you're back home. Whiskey says, what's the latest? Will you be working again? I applied for 2 jobs. Let's see if I can get them. Add one of them. The problem is, though, they're both full-time jobs, and I don't want to work full-time. I want to work part-time. So I imagine that'll probably be a showstopper. But being that I have a resident car, I'm a resident here. I can work. You know, I'm local. No one has to sponsor a green card. I've already been a teacher in the past, and that I say I'm local. There's a lot of schools that could use somebody like that. Penguin says funny, or Tim says funny eating your stock. I'll receive an empty box. LOL. I won't eat your stock, Tim. Tim says, you get the so-called specialist sellers here for the tea and accessories, but charge extortionate prices. Yeah, that's sometimes goes hand in hand, huh? You get that. It's hard to do, and a lot of the tea is pretty expensive. It's especially if it goes from the source to a merchant. If those people are buying the source, like I buy this tea directly from the factory that produces it here. But if the people that are selling it on eBay or elsewhere are buying the tea from resellers that, you know, what would be wholesalers, then the price just goes up correspondingly. Heather says, yes, a lot of teas here, even in the Japanese tea in the local stores, have things added to them. A few made him sick, so when he found out I had good stuff directly from Japan, he's in love. That's, you know, so often the case, even in Southern California, where there's a huge Japanese population, we go to Japanese restaurants and the tea was not green tea. You know, it's brown tea or something like that. You know, of course, you know, green tea, brown tea, black tea, they all come from the same plant, apparently. But it's how they're processed. But it wasn't the same at all. Speaking about residency, how long can visitors stay in Japan without a visa? It depends on where you're from, Evelyn. Being an American, you can come for 3 months and stay without a visa. You can, if you want to, you can apply for various types of extended visas. There's something called a digital nomad visa, which is rather new. I think that's 6 months, but there's some terms apply. But 3 months. There's no middleman per se. Yep. It's sucky tea. We'll end on that. And I just want to let you know that there's this new feature. I mentioned it just a moment ago. It actually lists over here. I'm going to go ahead and list. I'm going to go ahead and say the names that I see here. It says, and I've never seen this before. It's a little button that appears on the left. I guess it's for content creators. It says top fans, and I can click on it, and it shows the names of the people that for some reason it says are the people, I guess the top people that are in here that are people that watch the video. And these are Dreamcatcher Acres Farm, Okayama Ray, Pink Tim, Evelyn, Whiskey, Michael, Ken Roll, and Jerry. It's probably only limits it to a certain amount. If if you didn't hear your, if your name didn't, if you didn't hear your name called, and I don't know, why, but I just thought I'd let you all know that you guys are the system. The system is letting me know that you guys are special people. But everybody that's here, you're all special people to me. I appreciate it very much. Gone very long today, over an hour, but that's okay because with the rain, we don't do radio Taiso. We won't do morning exercise this morning, so that's all right. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and I'm going to get started on listing. Rudy is at the top of the list. That's right. My Rudy, you can see him. Every evening, I pull out this comforter, and I put it here for him, and he lays here like this. I have the screen closed. He's a little jumpy because of the screen. And he sits there all night long with his face right there. And he listens to all the sounds of the night and the sounds of the river. And I'm telling you, I look at him and I go, man, you got yourself a little piece of heaven there, little buddy. Thank you very much, Heather. Stay safe, but not too safe. And I'm glad you love Rudy too, Heather. Take care, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining me.